Hey, today I'll be talking about episodes 39 through 41 of YanXi Palace. Getting right into it, the Empress is in labor. It is a horrid affair. Way too much blood and screaming. Is this a normal amount of blood to lose? On second thought, don't tell me. Yingluo is deeply affected and has to step away even as the Empress is calling out for her. Fuheng sees her run away and follows after her to find her crying in the courtyard. I think about this scene 3 times a week minimum. This is so sweet. But of course, Yingluo has to remember to maintain the distance between them. Finally, late into the night, the Empress delivers a healthy-ish boy, the 7th prince. Anyone with eyes can see that this is going to be his new favorite, and Shen makes sure to play it up for Chun's benefit. She is getting better and better at manipulating people. You know, for someone who wanted for nothing but an errant glance from Fuheng for 10 whole years, Chun sure did get greedy fast. You've got the Emperor's affection and a healthy son. Is that not enough? I guess not. Anyway, happy baby, the Empress is okay, and I want to mention how moved I was by this scene. In tears. Fuheng gets home and his darling wife has some big news for him. She's pregnant! Of course, they still haven't consummated their marriage, and honestly, if I were him, I would say that immediately. I mean, you're gonna get in trouble for not fulfilling your husbandly duties or whatever, but who's really gonna lose here? Instead, he elects to speak to her in private. She tells him the truth that she's pregnant with the Emperor's baby, and because of that, harming her or the baby would be a grave sin. The heavens would surely punish him. Girl, this is twisted. Fuheng leaves and orders Erqing under full lockdown while he tries to figure out his next step. And I mean, steps might be a good next step. Yingluo gets the news that her father has been gravely injured. She doesn't plan to go at first because she still hasn't forgiven him, but the Empress convinces her that it's time to let it go and reconcile. I guess I agree with that, if only for Yingluo's inner peace, but I fucking hate that guy. He's been a shit father her whole life, and lest we forget, he tried to drown her. The moment Yingluo leaves, Chun makes her move. It's so funny to me that no one dares to mess with the Empress while Yingluo is around, but the moment she's gone, it's open season. That night, a fire starts in 7th Prince's room. There are procedures in place for this kind of thing, but the water that would normally be used to put out a fire is completely frozen. The servants try to hold the Empress back, but she fights past them, running into the still burning building to save her son. A guard is sent in to rescue them, and though the Empress was able to grab the 7th Prince, it was too late. The boy has died. The next day, Hailan Cha reports what happened. It's protocol for the palace eunuchs to heat the water jars periodically so the water doesn't freeze, but it was a holiday, the Spring Festival, and they were lax in their duties. The eunuchs deny this, saying they have been totally diligent and have warmed the water every night since the weather started getting cold. This clearly stinks of foul play, but the Emperor is just not interested in investigating any further. He orders every single eunuch executed. The Empress really can't catch a break. She's lost another child. It looks like this is the breaking point for her, and I get it. She really is a good person, so why do these things seem to keep happening to her? There really is no answer. Oh wait, yes there is, these scheming bitches. And then there's the Emperor. Huh? And also, everyone go and watch this scene right now. What's that you say? You literally just finished watching it? Go watch it again. It's just such an amazing scene as the Empress finally cracks under all the pressure she's been under. The Empress really starts to lose it, and the Emperor has her hog-tied, which I feel like there had to have been a better solution. And in the midst of all this, he's still talking to her about her duty to him and the country. I know emperors are deathly allergic to self-examination, but you really, truly don't see that it's this endless burden that's killing her right now? Before we can even catch our breaths, we get the news that the country's under attack, so the Emperor is needed back at his post. Fuheng goes to see the Emperor and asks that he let the Empress go home for a little while to recover. He refuses, saying that the Empress will remain at her post until the day she dies. Seizing the opportunity while Fuheng is out, Erqing breaks out of house arrest and goes to see the Empress. They speak in private, so we don't see what they talk about, but after she leaves, the Empress asks Mingyu to make her some food. She also asks about Yingluo, but Mingyu says she's not back yet. Mingyu leaves, and instead of waiting for the food, the Empress sneaks out. She walks out, barefoot, lost in thoughts about the past. She's finally had enough of being the empress and is ready for a taste of freedom, even if only for a few moments.
从今以后，不再做皇后了，我只是FuCha RongYin。
By the time Yingluo gets back to the palace, the news has spread. The empress is gone. She arrives at the palace to find the funeral already underway. She can't even get a final look at her, Mingyu begging her not to as her face is badly damaged. This whole arc is just devastating blow after devastating blow. When the emperor finally shows up, he tells the servants to dress her up before they bury her. Yingluo begs him to let her be unburdened in death, but he refuses.
为皇后梳妆。
Considering the situation, it would have been surprising if Yingluo could keep her tongue in check this time, but yeah, she really lets him have it, telling him pretty much everything RongYin couldn't before she died, that she sacrificed her whole life just to make him happy. Can he not even make this one small concession for her sake?
难道您的心是冰做的吗？
李煜，奴才在。
The emperor orders for Yingluo's death, for her to commit suicide and accompany the empress. She doesn't fight it and accepts the order with grace, saying she is more than willing to serve her mistress in death. At this, even Mingyu finds her courage.
他只希望璎珞幸福。皇上，你一点都不了解娘娘，一点都不。
Just as Yingluo is about to go through with the suicide, Liu rushes in. The emperor found RongYin's will. One of her last wishes was for him to let Yingluo leave the palace and live her life freely. He won't let her go home, but sends her to keep vigil at the empress's tomb in Yuanming Garden, never to return to the Forbidden City. Despite his high standing in the palace, Yuan gets himself transferred to Yuanming Garden to accompany her. He's just, I love him so much. Grieving his sister's passing and with nothing but a vengeful wife waiting for him at home, Fu Heng volunteers for a dangerous mission far away from the capital. There's an almost comical scene of Urchin acting like she's so distraught she's going to kill herself, which, girl, who is this for? Did you rehearse this with your maid ahead of time?
你想要干什么？
Fu Heng is finally showing the kind of energy I've been waiting for and tells Urchin that he is done playing these games with her. He says he's leaving and has ordered that the moment a single body part of hers passes through the door, it is getting chopped off. And she better pray he returns safely, because if he dies, she will be living out the rest of her days in a nunnery, baby or no baby. Before he goes, he pays a final visit to Yingluo, well, just to creepily stare at her from behind a rock. He leaves and we have a time jump. Over the next 2 years, Yuan and Yingluo remain close, keeping each other company through the seasons. Honestly, this banishment seems a lot better than being a servant in the palace. And Yingluo and Yuan are so cute, such heartwarming sibling energy. In the meantime, the Empress Dowager encourages the emperor to name Xian as the new empress, and eventually he agrees, which means scary days are ahead. This show is generally campy, but when they want to go the other way, they do it really well. This whole arc was just so wonderfully dark. This interpretation of the Empress and her final decision just resonated with me so much, and Qinlan was breathtaking as FuCha RongYin. She brilliantly portrayed her heartbreak and pain, and her final decision, as tragic as it was, you just get it, you know? The Emperor was never going to let her be free, so she took the decision into her own hands. And it is just so heartbreaking how many of her final thoughts and even her will were about Yingluo. She really loved her so much. And of course, Yingluo loved her as well. That final speech to the emperor was everything the empress never got to say, and I hope he heard it. Speaking of the emperor, I'm curious to see how you guys feel about him now, because while you know I want this guy 5 feet away from Yingluo at all times, I actually love him as a character. Of course, the pressure the empress was talking about being under, I completely get it. But I must say, he's no hypocrite. He holds himself to the same standards and seems to truly believe that the privileged life they lead comes with sacrifice and there is no room for error.
别说今天死的是永聪，就算是皇后，不，就算是后宫所有的女人都死绝了，朕也一样要若无其事的上朝理事，因为朕是皇帝，是大清之君，是天下之主。
And I might be reaching, but I feel like a lot of the things he was saying to the empress are also things he's saying to himself. Yingluo calls him cold-hearted, which he can be, but in a sense, the emperor has to be cold-hearted, right? I mean, an emperor isn't even supposed to shed tears in situations like these, and he does several times for his wife. He's not an unfeeling man, and as terrible of a job as he did showing it towards the end, I think he truly did love her. Okay, going back a bit to Urchin. What can I even say here? What are we doing? I appreciate that Fu Hong is now handling things with a firmer hand because she is clearly not going to learn her lesson. She is too far gone. I had honestly suspected that she was going to cheat on Fu Hong with his brother to get her revenge. I don't think I've talked about him, right? From the moment they met, there's been this weird tension, and then we find out that he's always watching her and even secretly drawing her portraits. But anyway, that doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Also, he might be a teenager. But anyway, what in the world did she say to the Empress before she left? As if we needed any more reasons to want her dead, did she really push her to commit suicide? If that's really the case, Yingluo is going to burn her at the stake. Final note, oh my gosh, is this drama gorgeous. Every single frame. Bam, 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 bam. The funeral scene, breathtaking. Yuanming Garden, spectacular. Even the mundane scenes are just so beautifully shot. With a final rest in peace to my girl RongYin. Till next time, thanks for watching.